The LDARC ET115 was one of my favorite beginner quads. It flies great in a park. The center of gravity on this thing is very compact, and so it just flies like a flat pancake, so it's really great for learning acro. I finally burnt out an ESC on this thing, so I haven't been flying it in a long time, so I decided to resurrect this thing. So I'm going to give it, it has a F3 flight controller, so I'm going to upgrade its components because I like the way it flies. As far as the components I'm going to be upgrading, starting with the camera. This is the RunCam Nano 3, which should be a significant improvement over the stock camera. The VTX, I'm going to this Eachine Nano VTX that supports up to 25 to 400 milliwatts, so that'll be a nice upgrade. As far as the stack, I'm going to be using the Diatone Mamba F405 Mini NK3 stack. The 4-in-1 ESCs are rated at 35 amp, so that's more than enough. And then these, I'm going to upgrade the motors to these B motors. They're the 1108 5000 kV motors, which should be a big improvement over the stock motors I have. So that's what I'm going to do next. And as far as the receiver, I'll probably just keep the existing receiver, although I might, I'll see what it looks like. I might upgrade this to an XM Plus, but once I open up the canopy and see what I got there, I'll make that decision later. All right, I have everything stripped out of the frame. So I'm going to go ahead and use the canopy and this frame, but the motors and ESC and flight controller stack, that's all going to be replaced. So the dry weight is 97 grams. The motors are wired up, as well as the pigtail and low ESR capacitor. So I have the flight controller installed now on the top of the stack. So next I'll be completing the wiring. So I'm not going to go through the entire wiring of the flight controller, just the highlights. This thing was very easy to wire up. Diatone did an excellent job of creating this pinout diagram, which is really easy to follow. So as far as where things are connected, the LED leads are connected on this side of the flight controller. The buzzer leads are here. This buzzer came with the ET115. The XM Plus receiver is connected in this section. The VTX is up in this section here. And then I went ahead and added a connector here for the RunCam Nano 3 and just spliced in a connector here. And I used some Kapton tape here and some double-sided sticky tape to hold that in place. And the RunCam Nano 3 fit very nicely in here. I just glued it in place with this E6000 glue. It can be removed if I need to. And it's pretty rubbery, but it secures it very nicely in here. And the way it's positioned, I made sure that it wasn't going to interfere with the view angle here. I don't see the canopy, so that's good news. The XM Plus receiver I put in, this is how I did it. The ET115 came with this bigger plate, and I just cut it down so that it fit. I just used some diagonal cutters here and just used a file to trim it up, and that way you can see that it did come with some tie wrap slots. So tie wrap the XM Plus to the back side of this plate, and you can see you can get to the bind button real easily here. So that worked out pretty slick. And then the antenna, diversity antenna, came off of here on each side. of these two rear arms. So yeah, it came together quite well, and I really like this Mamba F405 Mini MK3 stack. So I highly recommend it. So next I'm going to button everything up and go out and configure things and see how well this thing flies. So this is what it looks like all buttoned up. I did add a strain relief for the pigtail and added a regular battery strap to the bottom here. So this is what the Remix looks like now that I've completed it. I'll show you a weight above. It came in at 90 grams, so it's actually 7 grams lighter than the stock version. I think it turned out real sweet with the Avon Rush props. Hopefully it'll fly fairly quiet and smoothly. I'm going to be taking it on its maiden flight. I'm going to be running these GNB 520 milliamp hour batteries 4S, and we'll see how well it does. The ET115 Remix was a fun project, and I really enjoyed reviving and improving on one of my favorite park flyers. The pros: the Diatone Mamba F405 Mini MK3 stack was well documented and it has all kinds of UARTs, and so I'd highly recommend that stack. I also liked the Eachine Nano VTX. Even at 25 milliwatts, I had very little breakup. As far as flight characteristics, it held true to the stock ET115, where it flies very stable and is very smooth. That's why it was such a good beginner quad. The differences are it's just way faster with the changes that I made. So it's like flying the same quad but about twice as fast. So as far as tuning, I didn't change anything from the Betaflight defaults that were for the 4.2 Betaflight version. The only thing I did was turn off DMIN, and I also turned on RPM filtering after I flashed the JESC firmware on the ESCs. There was only the slightest bit of prop wash when I tried my hardest to bring it out on purpose. So yeah, I could probably do a little bit of tuning, but it really flew great without even touching the PIDs at all. As far as the cons, I think the 1108 motors are probably overkill for a 2.5-inch prop, so I could have gone with a lighter motor. Also the camera, you know, I went with the Runcam Nano 3. I had it laying around. It fits perfectly in the canopy. You know, it's a little smaller, the lens that fits in the hole, but as far as mounting it, it fit exactly in the same spot. I probably would have preferred, you know, like the Runcam Nano V2, a little larger lens, a little better picture, but then I would have had to figure out how to modify the canopy to get it mounted. So in conclusion, if you have broken your ET115 and it's lying around, this is one way to bring it back to life. And as always, thanks for watching my channel.